Welcome to the FaerySpeak. I'm Reverend John O'Toole. I hope you're enjoying my program. This is a program where I do fairy readings or tarot card readings with the assistance of the fairy. That's F-A-E-R-Y. Because the other spelling is referred to an actual fairy. Kind of like Tinkerbell. So, in this show, what I do is that I am setting an intention that I am reading for you out there in the audience. Now you're going to say, well, how could that be? I'm not there in the room with you. I'm sitting at home here enjoying myself, and who knows when this was recorded. Well, that's okay, because I set an intention that when you see it, that this reading is for you. It's kind of a cool idea. Does it work? I don't know, because as the sign says, this is for entertainment only. So you either get something out of it or you don't. You know, if anything, you get to see me make a fool out of myself on national TV. If you knew me 10 years ago, even 20 years ago, I would never be in front of a camera talking about personal stuff, or anything for that matter. I can remember in college having stage fright. I had to change my roles from being an actor, and all it was in the play Harvey. I was the cab driver. I couldn't do it. I had to switch roles to being, you know, technical backup or handling sound and lights and stuff. Now it'd be a piece of cake. Oh, I wish I had some cake. See, I purposely don't keep cake in the house just for the fact that I can't have a piece of cake when I want it. So we're going to do the reading on these cards. These cards are Brian Fraud's tarot cards, the Fairy Oracle. You can get tarot cards at a good New Age bookstore. I mean, one would be Crystal Essence over in Great Barrington. You could probably even find them at Barnes & Noble or other New Age bookstores in the area. You should try to touch them. Don't just pick them online off of Amazon or somebody, because you really kind of want to develop a relationship. You know, how many people like blind dates? They're just not much fun because you just don't know what you're going to get or whether you're going to like them. And you want to at least see a picture. And that's kind of the same thing with the cards. You develop a relationship with them, and that way there's a connection, a spiritual connection. I want to show you my friend Harry. Harry is a gnome that I hooked up with in a meditation many years ago. And he's a gnome, like I said. He doesn't have the pointy hat or the fancy clothes. We call him Hairy Feet, because he has very hairy feet. And yeah, if you see me around and you can see things, he's in physical form, but only if you can see him, which is kind of an interesting play on words, eh? But he's present in all my readings. Travels with me to many different places. There are some places he won't go, but that's only places that have been abused spiritually. And there's only a couple of places like that that I've traveled to. Some place that people have done rituals of sorts, but they don't replenish the energy to the land. They take and take and take, which is an interesting thing when you think about it. It's, you know, everything is a circle. You give back. So I'm going to spread out my cards like a fancy Las Vegas dealer. How about that, huh? Well, actually, that turned out pretty good. I don't know how they do it. But, so I'm going to run my hands across the cards, and you are going to tell me when to stop. And I think we are going to pull. I think we're pulling 5 cards. I don't know why we're pulling 5 cards. Sometimes it's 6. Sometimes it's more than that. But we were going to pull 5 cards. And then we'll read them. And then we'll see if we have time for more. Ready? How about you in the back? Are you ready too? Good. You thought I wasn't seeing you, did you? You thought you could hide. Yeah, I'm just going to sit here in the kitchen and watch it from the other room. He's not going to see me. Okay, ready? This one right here, hiding. Hiding, like the person in the other room is hiding. All right. Another show we did, you know, always pull cards from this side of the stack. It was very weird. You just never know. And I tell you, there's a lot of energy on this side of the cards. But there's more on this side this time around. Now I said we're going to pull 5 cards, but we're going to pull another card. Why? I don't know why. You tell me why. Alrighty. So we're going to start with this card over here. The Soul Shrinker. Number 55. The Soul Shrinker. Cruelty, malice, gossip, curses, destruction, and blessings. How can you have blessings and malice and cruelty all in the same words? I don't know. But I must have some reason why I'm saying it. Lady of the Forest. Number 18, a very pretty card indeed. Completion, grief, loss, harvest, and release. But this one was in reverse. So it was like this. Refuse to accept a loss, cling to outgrown pains, traumas, and limiting ideas. Well, isn't that interesting? That's interesting indeed. Put this up here, and we'll put this one up here. Number 59. Bodacious Baldock. Meddling, tampering, sabotage, and helpful fixing, and order. Bodacious Baldock. Meddling, tampering, sabotage. Helpful fixing. Well, that's rather peculiar. This is a very peculiar read. Aren't you guys as confused as I am? The Master Maker. The Master Maker. Looks like somebody I see in the mirror every day. Skill, craftsmanship, magician, and moral strength. But this one was in reverse. Shoddy craftsmanship is a problem. This is a very peculiar read. Very peculiar indeed. What was the first one was? 55. Cruelty, malice, gossip, curses, destruction, and blessing. Huh. Let's stump the channel. Do-do-do-do-do. We're playing the Stump the Channel game. Penelope the Dreamweaver. Number 28. Inspiration, magical dreams, and vision. But this one was in reverse. Creative expression blocked. You may be working too hard. Creative expression blocked. Well, that's very interesting. Oh, this one looked familiar. Remind you of anybody you know? That old gnome. Trickster, creativity, chaos, wild gifts, breaking habits and patterns. Trickster, creative chaos, wild gifts, breaking habits and patterns. Well, that's interesting. So this is a curious reading in itself. This is kind of about holding on to old things and not being able to move forward. And it often happens. You feel like you're stuck in a rut. Yeah, rut. Almost like anything you choose, you end up back at where you were. And it's kind of holding on to old stuff. Maybe an old decision. Maybe an old belief. Now that could actually be what it is. An old belief from an old time ago. Some of that is just how you end up talking to people. You know, how do you talk to people? Think that every time you say something to somebody, they always respond the same way. So you figure you're just not going to talk to them at all. So let's draw another card. We're going to pull the card and read it. Because our reading might just influence the next card. Are you ready? How about you in the kitchen? Are you ready? And in here, very popular spot. Here we go. Number 41. Abe the Retriever. Abe the Retriever. Office of Unclaimed Property, Hopes and Wishes and Loyalty. Are you saying I can't? Now when it says, are you saying I can't? They're not saying, are you saying I can't? They are saying to yourself, are you saying I can't? See the difference? They're not saying to you to ask somebody else, oh, you mean I can't do that? Why can't I do that? This is an argument you're having within yourself. It's back to that thing of saying you're kind of stuck in a rut. It's very interesting indeed. Let's pull another card. This one here, this one underneath. The Journeyman, number 15. The Journeyman, number 15. Adventure, independent, polishing of skills, and traveling. Unable to move forward. Inappropriate at this time. Fear holding you back. Fear holding you back. Well, isn't that an interesting thing? Now, the only reason why fear would be holding you back would be because you're holding on to an old dream. Are you holding on to an old dream? The belief that you can't do it? Very interesting indeed. This was a very interesting session. Well, let's do another card, see where we're at. It's not just a practical thing. Some of it is spiritual. Some of it is spatial. Spatial meaning that maybe it wasn't something that's happened to you in your past. It could be something that happened to your parents in their lifetime. It could have been something that happened in your grandparents' lifetime. It could have been something that happened 100,000 years ago. There are all kinds of things that factor into where you're moving forward from. But anything that's happened to your parents, that gets imprinted onto you when you're born. And, 9 months afterwards. Something that happened to your grandparents, of course, it's going to get downloaded to your parents, and then they're going to download to you. So you might find something that's happened to somebody a couple of generations ago, and you're going to say, oh my goodness. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Look at that. I know that feeling. Wow. And you're going to realize that there's no tangible reason why that should affect your life. And you're going to say, golly gee. Golly gee. That's somebody else's stuff, not my stuff. And you're going to let it go. It's that simple, Use your logic, use your brain, use your intelligence. And realize that the thing that's holding you back doesn't even belong to you. Unconditional giving and unconditional receiving. Well, that's cool. Now, let me ask you this question. Do you have a belief problem around unconditional giving and receiving? Interesting question. Unconditional love given and received. In order to have true happiness, this needs to be where you're at. A cat lies on your lap. Is that unconditional love given and received? If you look really close, you'll see a fairy sitting on another fairy. Unconditional love given and received. This is where it comes down to the needy and the caretaker. People that are needy, they always want love. Constantly, they need to be constantly given attention, constantly high maintenance, constantly giving it to them. As soon as you stop, even for a take a breath, they go into a panic. And they'll keep pressure on you till you give back again. You can have one person as a caretaker feeding multiple needy people. However, one's going to be jealous of the other constantly. Love given and received unconditionally. That's where your true friendships are. That's where your true relationships are. If you want to argue with me, tell me. Take care of your children, Now you have to take care of your children physically. But if you have a relationship with them, love given and received freely, it's a much better thing. Because sometimes, when children don't want to have anything to do with you, once they have a chance that they can leave the household, they can't wait to leave the household and never look back. Well, you didn't have a balance of unconditional love given and received. On the other hand, you wouldn't be watching my program if you probably were in that particular situation. But, love given and received means that you don't have expectations on what you do for somebody, and they don't have expectations on when they do something for you. And received, you give love, you get love. Appropriately, you're with somebody that gives love back to you freely, without the expectations. Because what will happen is a person that is constantly giving, and not getting love back, they're gonna have some depression. They're gonna feel like they're not loved. Everybody deserves to feel like they're loved. It's the way it goes. So I hoped you enjoyed our program, The Fairy Speaks. And I hope you tune in to the next one. And if you have any suggestions about the program or any comments, feel free to pass them along to CTSB and LEE. But until next time, the Fairy speaks for you.